I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, November the 3rd, brought to you in part by Toromox by Norbrook. Toromox is the Moxie with the Moxie. It's the first generic Cydectin available. As a producer, you can expect the same weight gain advantage that you're used to with Cydectin, but now at a lower cost. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Lock the gates. We're in a serious standoff here between cattle feeders selling their finished fat cattle and the packers. Packers are resisting the red ink, and some people think that I want packers to lose money. I don't want the packers to lose money. I know that we need the packers, but they always want it all their way. Now when the tables are turned, supplies are heavy and the packers don't really need the cattle, and the cattle feeders are resisting steady or lower bids because they're facing red ink. What happens? The packers let you eat them all yourself. They'll just leave you to stick with them. But this time, we've got tight supplies of market-ready cattle. We knew that was coming in the fourth quarter of this year. We're in the fourth quarter of this year, and they're extremely tight. And now your packers are getting frantic because they need cattle, but they're going to be in the red ink on these cattle because supposedly they're not able to keep their box beef cutout values up, which I'm a little suspect to that anyway, because box beef cutout values, that's just a spot market on your box beef sales, and those aren't negotiated prices. Those are just the prices that the packers ask for the product, and then they sell it. They lower it, they sell a little bit more, they raise it, they don't sell quite as much, and they control the supply on that just like they control the supply of fed cattle. But that's just a little bit of the business they do. Most of their beef sales are out front, they're formula type deals, just like on your fat cattle sales. And that's what they want us to see, is what they're showing us on the box beef cutout values, and they're erratic. I mean, swinging one way $2 or $3 or $4 or more, and then the other way, and back and forth, and here and there, and choice up and select down, and back and forth. And I don't know that you can really gauge what's going on just by your box beef cutout values. But your packers, they don't mind trimming back or slowing down the chain speeds and limiting production, but the hell of it is, they've got to have product available because we're getting ready to get into some serious holiday demand where they're going to need that, and they're going to be able to raise the price on that. So they're needing to keep the harvest up, but they've got to buy some cattle, and they're going to have to buy them higher. And they've resisted it. We haven't seen hardly any trade at all negotiated on fat cattle this week, but the packers need the cattle, and those that have those ready to sell, and the few guys that sell negotiated, they've got all the leverage right now. Even the guys in the north, even your farmer feeders that only have cattle ready maybe once or twice a year, they're not selling them. Nobody's selling them. The few cattle that they're picking up from different types of sales, maybe a forward contract or some type of a formula deal that they're getting in Iowa, a lot of them they're putting on trucks and hauling them down to Kansas or even Texas to put them in the plants down there because they're so tight on market-ready supplies in the Southern Plains. So lock the gates. Just lock the gates, turn your phone off, and go enjoy the weekend, because they are going to be that much hungrier whenever we come back next week. But likely we're going to see some trade on Friday here, and it's going to be higher. And I hope the Southern Plains gets 187. I hope the Northern Plains can keep pace with that. I hope they sell them even higher. But nobody's really backed up on cattle right now. We've been selling them right along. If you don't get some sold this week, they're going to grade that much better next week, and the market's going to be that much higher. So you know, just be patient here. Now we saw the board, especially the feeder board, go up big time on Thursday. You got to take that in stride, guys, just like we saw a week ago Monday when everything fell out of bed. Take it in stride. Don't start blowing your brains out on these feeder cattle because it's likely gonna go right back, because we saw that the big dump we saw a week ago Monday on your futures, it's already come back now. So it's just something that happens on the board now that the algorithms completely run the board, and they see a little bit of trade and it just runs too far one way and the other. And why did the feeder board go up so much? Likely because your commercial interests, the packers and those that follow the packers, are covering their shorts, and then so they have to do the opposite. They're buying back, and then the algorithms see that and then they run it up the other way. But we're finally starting to see them realize how tight the supplies of feeder cattle are going to be. Maybe they've gone back and looked at a bunch of feeder flashes from back dates. I noticed that our feeder flash subscriptions have surpassed 16,000 of late, so that's humbling. I'm very happy that we got that many followers, but we are tight. We're tight on feeder cattle. The calf crop is not nearly as big as what we've seen in years past, so we're really tight. Going to be scrambling for cattle to put on feed. Your feeders in the northern plains are looking everywhere for cattle. They're looking in the southeast to buy cattle, which they hardly ever do this time of year going into the bitter cold. But you know, things are really in the cattle feeders direction right now, and we've been waiting for it. Of course, I know we're at all-time record level prices on most all classes of cattle. I think we're going to surpass that 188 that was all-time high for fat cattle in June. If not this week, probably in the next week or the next. And that's what they've been telling us. That's what we've been seeing, because we knew we were so tight on cattle. But it's an interesting time right now. We saw some big prices on some feeder cattle and calves. I'm going to tell you about all those in just a minute. I want to tell you about Tom Cassie Real Estate. They've got a couple of properties they want me to tell you about. They're cattle properties. They're very near each other, and they're located near Bolivar, Missouri, which is in southwest Missouri. Some of you guys that are tired of fighting the drought, it rains there, and they've got grass there, and it's cattle country, guys. But they've got two big properties there. The first one I'm going to tell you about is 527 acres of grass, and it's got a brand new growing yard on it. I mean, the facilities are there. It's ready for you to go in there and take over, guys. We've got brand new pipe pens. It's got a 5-bay commodity barn there. It's got a new working barn filled with equipment in there. It's got shades on it. It's got 3,000 foot of bunk on it. It's got room to expand if you want to make it bigger. It's got room you could put a home there if you wanted to do that. If you didn't want the whole 527 acres, you could buy 180 acres with the facilities. Somebody that's looking to expand into something like that, this is really a property for you. The second property, which is within like 5 miles of there, is 900 acres of open, fertile ground right there. It's got good water on it. It's got good fencing on it. It's got open views on it if you want to settle there. But if you're interested in these properties, get a hold of Tonto Cassie or Jason Bates that work with him, and check them out at tomcassierealestate.com. Talk about your board. Your board, like I said, your feeder cattle were really up, but live cattle saw impressive gains on Thursday also. December live cattle futures were up $1.05 at 184.67. February up $1.25 at 186.42. Back months all showed big gains on live cattle, up $1.22 to up 185. November feeder cattle up 405 on Thursday, settling at 242.62. January feeder cattle up 415 at 242.17, guys. And your back months on feeder cattle up 375 to up 410. So big gains there. And you think, well, grains were down. Yeah, they were down some. Corn was down 5 cents a bushel at 470. It looks like it's going to settle right in there in the upper $4 a bushel range there, guys. And we're nearing the end of harvest here. November beans up 12 3/4 cents a bushel at 13.28 1/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December up 1.5 cents at 641.5. Your fat cattle trade, or what little fat cattle trade there was. And this is odd. I can't remember the last time that I was given a Friday report talking about Thursday trade and there were no confirmed sales from Iowa or Nebraska before 2 o'clock on Thursday. Nothing. I mean, I'm admired by those guys that didn't give in and they're holding out for more money. You got to take your hat off to them. Kansas, 150 head sold at 185. That's steady with last week. We've already seen 186 bids, and likely everybody's holding out for 187, and they're probably going to get it if they continue to hold out. Texas didn't have any confirmed sales of finished cattle on Thursday at all. Box beef cutout values, and this is what I was talking about, just so erratic. Choice up 235 at 304.53. But select down 421 at 274.34. That's a head scratcher there, guys. Slaughter backing off a little bit more right during the time where they really need to speed up the harvest here so they have plenty of product on hand for that big holiday demand that's right around the corner. But up through the first 4 days of this week, just 496,000 estimated slaughter. That's 6,000 less than last week at this time. 17,000 less than a year ago. Your actual slaughter information come back for the week ending October the 21st had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 927 pounds, which is exactly the same as the previous report. Talk about what else is going on. Performance Livestock Analytics. They've got apps. They've got software for you to help you in your management. Their Performance Beef has an app. It's as easy to use as your cell phone, guys, and you can simplify your feeding, performance, and health records in one easy place. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Thursday sitting at 234.68, up nearly $2, $1.94 higher, and that's updated. That's a 7-day moving average, and most all that gain was seen on Thursday with the help from the feeder board being higher. Don't forget Dublin Livestock Sale Barn there in Dublin, Texas, got a special wean back sale. You don't see these in Texas very often, guys. And a special wean back sale and feeder calf sale there. It's here today, this Friday. They're going to be featuring some of their best consignments at noon. They're on DVAuction.com. Get a hold of them early. You can get approved there to bid online. They've got several nice consignments there, including a couple loads of NHTC, aged and sourced, northern quality cattle with beef care. If you're interested in that sale, get a hold of Tanner Monk at Dublin Livestock. Also, don't forget about Farmington Regional Stockyards. They got that bred cow and breeding bull sale special. That's going to be here Saturday, November the 4th. That's also on DVAuction.com in Farmington, Missouri. Talk about your big sales on Thursday. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas. Their sale was running late. When I pulled the information for this report, they'd sold 3,700. They've got that much or more. Sale was still going, and the market was mostly higher on everything, some places sharply higher. Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas sold 3,000 on Thursday. Their feeder steers were $5 to $6 higher with light comparisons because they didn't have too big of a sale last week, but got another calf special coming up next Thursday there in Pratt. Your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day was Ogallala Livestock Auction in Ogallala, Nebraska. 4,500 head there. The market was sharply higher. Gained back everything that it lost after that cattle on feed report and more. Look at this, a calf special. Look at these calf weights here. Look at the numbers involved and the weighted average prices. 1,359 head of 4-weight steers in Ogallala. They averaged 452 pounds with a weighted average price on all of them of $350.68. How about 931 head of 5-weight steer calves. That's 500 all the way to 600 pounds. They average 545 with a weighted average price of $292.49. Look at the heifers, and you're seeing they're keeping some heifers back. 523 head of 4-weight heifers, average 441, weighted average price $281.82, and 425 head of 5-weight heifer calves, average 539 pounds at $259.68. Give you a couple individual quotes from around about Belle Fourche Livestock Market in Belle Fourche, South Dakota. 58 big steers weighed 989 and bring 241. Ogallala Livestock Auction, I couldn't pass up this quote because it's so impressive. 71 steer calves weigh 509 at 334. And I think that's of the last several weeks, that's probably tops there in sale barn. 500-pound calves there at 334. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of a fairly new broadcast customer of DVAuction. It's New Cambria Livestock Auction in New Cambria, Missouri. That is north central Missouri there. They had a whale of a sale. Not only did they sell their loads of steers high, they had a load of steers weighed 866 at $247.50. Wow. But the top quote that I saw that I'm calling out for the Macrocin No BS top quote for the day was 144 head of feeder heifers. They weighed 774 and bring 244.5. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.